This is my first podcast, so welcome. It is pretty cool to be here. This podcast is going to be a celebration of business. It's a hats off celebration to people in business who have either done some dynamic work, whether they've changed my life or they've changed someone else's life. Be in this podcast, ensuring that I do bring in my book reviews. So what I'm doing with this podcast is welcoming you into my world. Hats off, I'll be wearing a hat every single episode. This hat is from my gorgeous nephew and his beautiful wife, who own Hype Health Club down in Currumbin on the Gold Coast in Australia. And I'll be giving them a shout out and also dedicating my book review on every podcast to a certain business who inspires me and who wants to make a difference in the world. My name is Kirsten, and I've been having a dabble in technology and running a collaborative businesses on the sideline so that complement my everyday consulting job as a business broker and a business valuer. There's never been a time like now to use technology to our advantage. So I've been very, very lucky to be able to collaborate with a whole heap of very smart people, much smarter than I am, on how to get some of the courses that I've written online and out to the masses. When I say out to the masses, I mean the courses that I've written came from a demand. In business, everyone was struggling. It doesn't matter if you were overloaded with work or if you had to close up shop. We were all disrupted by the pandemic. And what that made me do is it locked me down as well. So I wrote. I started writing. I started getting everything out of my head. I started listening to the people calling me, asking for help. And I thought, how can I put this knowledge and this information into something that was really tangible and transferable, and it could be picked up by people anywhere in the world to help them in business. When I started off in business, there was no help at all. I mean, even today, you Google how to start a business, you'll get a couple of blogs, or even buy a business. You might get the government site that shows you this is how you buy a business within your country. Even selling a business or closing a business, there's not a lot of information out there. Well, I'm changing the game here. It's no longer technical. We need to share our information, and it needs to be done in a way that is in the privacy of your own home. Instead of having to go and pay a consultant or a coach a lot of money to help you do what you probably already know how to do, I think you could probably start off with some good old-fashioned training, and these courses may just be the answer for you. I've decided to take my hats off to people in business who are wanting to help themselves, and I welcome you to come along this journey with me. I'm wanting to change the narrative on business training for business owners. Book sales have gone bonkers, mainly because people are putting books behind them on shelves. Now, I'm notorious for being a bookworm. I love my downtime, especially since I got divorced and I had a little bit of a moment where I had time to just reflect on my life, and I had to learn. I had to find a place in my life where I could improve myself personally rather than professionally only. And I decided to make sure I read at least one book a week. And not only did I read one book a week, I ate them up. I was reading more and more, and being single, it did serve me well at the time. But a lot of people don't have the luxury or the liberty to be able to read whenever they want. So my book reviews became pretty popular, and the authors appreciated it too. Sometimes I even got paid to do some book reviews, which was pretty cool. I think there's been a couple of times I've read this and I've thought, I need to share this with people. Now, Jocko Willink is one of my, he is the coolest dude on the planet right now for me. He comes from a background of military. And I think when you're talking about discipline as such, it's everyone's got their own take on discipline. And you know, I opened up on the first page and it was called The Way of Discipline. And I'm just going to read you the first little bit because it is relevant to the subject of this podcast, which is good. Good. And he says, people look for the shortcut or the hack. And if you came here looking for that, you're not going to find it. The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. And if you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. Stronger, smarter, faster, healthier, better, and free. To reach goals and overcome obstacles and be the best version of you will possibly not happen by itself. It will not happen cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. There must be discipline. So he's talked about discipline in here, and there's no better time to be talking about discipline. And I'll bring that back to when I was stuck last year in a moment of time where my clients couldn't pay me. They were closing their business, or they were actually too busy and they didn't need my help anymore. And I really got down into my everyday routine and thought, what can I be doing better? What is that I've always wanted to do with my time? And I actually had to discipline myself in it and change my brain in a whole different light. I made time in my day to dedicate to this particular project of writing 6 workbooks, or courses if you like it, but they were workbooks. They were my take on how to do business as a business owner. And as I said, it was coming from the feedback I was getting and the phone calls I was getting as to what people needed help with. So what I had to do was discipline myself. And it's true, there's no easy way. There's no shortcuts to getting shit done. And I started my business with the idea that I was going to be very successful very quickly. I lost relationships, marriages. I lost myself. I lost my health. I decided that, business was more important to me, not than my family, but it was more important to me, and it gave me more stimulant, and it gave me more meaning than the everyday things like going to dinner or catching up with friends. And that's an undisciplined approach to business. Now that I've found myself and my groove, and I hope that I'm going to inspire you to as well, you need to understand that even though discipline may not be ever present in your life, you can change the narrative. Every day you have the opportunity to get up and do something a little bit different. It's about making sure time is your happiness. But if you keep doing the same thing every day, you're going to get the same result. And I don't want to be cliche about that, but if I sat on my ass and did nothing last year, then I wouldn't be able to bring to you guys this incredible achievement. It is madness. A look at what I've created here. There's about over 60,000 words in these workbooks, including the instructor's manual. These things didn't happen by themselves. It took a bit of time to get in there. And it was authors like Jocko that actually inspired me to get in and change up. This podcast is about taking my hat off to someone, and it is definitely Jocko, and he is the legend of the day. I'm going to also share with you a little bit of his clip on the word good, or what good means, and I hope this inspires you today.
My direct subordinates, one of my guys that worked for me, he would call me up or pull me aside with some major problem, some issue that was going on. He'd say, boss, we got this and that and the other thing. And I'd look at him and say, good. And finally one day he was telling me about some issue, he was having some problem, and he said, I already know what you're going to say. I said, well, what am I going to say? He said, you're going to say good. He said, that's what you always say. When something is wrong and going bad, you always just look at me and say good. And I said, well, yeah, when things are going bad, there's going to be some good that's going to come from it. Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted? Good. Didn't get promoted. Oh, mission got canceled? Good. We can focus on that. Didn't get funded. Didn't get the job you wanted. Got injured. Sprained my ankle. Good. Tapped out. Good. Got beat. Unexpected problems. We have the opportunity to figure out a solution. That's it. When things are going bad, don't bum down, don't get startled, don't get frustrated. If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. But if you're still breathing, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, go out on the attack.
Good. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Hats off to Jocko and Hype Health Club in the Gold Coast.